Happy Prime Day, you capitalist swine. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Hey, you stole my intro. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 223 of the O The Anthem podcast, broadcasting to you from high above the 110 freeway in the hashtag OTALA studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, we're off to a rolling start already.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing. And hey, if you're not subscribed on Google Podcasts, the new podcast option out there, make sure you do that. Even if you've already subscribed to us elsewhere, because it's just another click. What do you care?
And of course, make sure you're following along on social media, facebook.com/O The Anthem, where you're watching this hopefully live right now. You can join us in the chat. You can comment below our comment or send a text to the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595, whether that's during the show or during the week when you catch the episode later on at otheanthem.com or in your favorite podcast directory. Okay, make sure you're also following at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram as well. And we're going to try to update those more often as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, it's been an exhausting weekend. Here we
Yes.
are on Monday night. Lots to get to. But I want to start with all the crazy stuff that happened this weekend. In our personal lives, not in the world.
Yeah, because
So,
that's what people come here for.
yeah, of course, yeah. So we have so much to talk about, and none of it happened together, which is probably weird.
Yeah, it felt a little unusual not to be in the same state with you for so long.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
such an extended period of time.
So what were you up to this weekend, Corey?
Well, my father was in Las Vegas for a convention, so I went to Las Vegas with Rachel to go spend time with him. And it was very nice, even though it was just the weekend. I had a lot of fun. We had drinks until like 4 a.m. on Saturday night or Friday night, so that was something. And yeah, now back to the struggle in LA until the next time we go to Vegas, whenever that may be.
That was really like a glossed over summary of what happened.
Well, I mean, there wasn't really anything that happened this time in Vegas that was like out of the norm. It was a lot of
there, clearly, yeah.
It was a lot of the same old, like like go to eat a Gordon Ramsay burger.
Right, you have to do that.
Yeah, have some Giordano's.
Have to do that.
A buffet at some point.
Right.
But like I wasn't gambling.
Fat Tuesday,
that happened.
And where'd you guys stay this time?
At Paris.
Now, was your dad staying in Paris?
Yes.
Okay, so...
And he had an extra bed, so we just crashed on the extra bed.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. So, staying at Paris, have you ever stayed there before?
Nope. So it's another one I can check off the list of hotels in Vegas.
How many are checked off the list already?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
New York?
New York,
Hooters.
Excalibur, Hooters, MGM Grand, Venetian.
Oh, shit. You have that entire corner taken care of.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the corner of...
Actually, I don't have Tropicana. That would be the only one I'm missing there.
Yeah, but it's like pushed back from the corner. Hooters
Well, I mean,
is
it's
right
closer
there.
to the corner than Hooters is.
Yeah, I count it. It's fine. Yeah.
I almost have that corner.
Yeah.
What I really need to do is start filling out the middle, because I also got, we went to Mirage.
Right.
And we stayed at the Venetian for my
Right.
birthday.
You've also been to the one across the street from the Mirage. Oh no, Rachel went that
Yeah.
time. You didn't.
Yeah, she
Oh.
went to the Wynn.
The
I did
Wynn.
not.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I really, at some point, I just want to be big timer enough that I can stay at Planet Hollywood, because it seems like we always end up in that area,
Yeah.
in the middle of the strip.
Yeah.
And that would make it easier, I think, if we were just there to begin with.
Start at Planet Hollywood, end at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then we go out for a walk. We go to the right. We come back later on. We go out, go to the left.
Yeah,
come
because I
back.
mean, so Rachel and I at one point got some Fat Tuesday and then decided to walk to Park MGM, which is the new hotel that's opening.
Park MGM?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Right across the street from New York. Same side of the street, but like the next one over.
I thought
So it
Excalibur
was-
was on that corner.
No. So it's the other side.
The other side.
So like if you're in between New York and Excalibur,
Yeah.
and you walk towards Planet Hollywood, then it would be the one right next, like right in between the arena, the T-Mobile Arena is right in
Yes.
between New York, and Park MGM.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's further
And then it's
away from Las
Cosmo.
Vegas. Further away from Las Vegas Boulevard.
No, it's on Las Vegas Boulevard. Just like
I don't think that you understand your geography. New York is on the corner.
Yes.
Excalibur is across Flamingo Drive from
Right.
Then next to
Park
it,
MGM is right here.
Okay. Because
and
T-Mobile's back
T-Mobile's
here.
back there.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
What was over there?
I can't remember. It was one of those like classic or Las Vegas hotels that people thought wasn't ever going to go away, and it did.
Now it's out. You
Yeah.
got to make a resort. Sorry about it.
Can't remember what it was, but
We should go back to I'm sure we have pictures from 3 years ago where it was there.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Where we're eating Zabaros and you can see it in the
Out the window.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one's still under construction, so nothing really to see there. But we both marveled at like, oh, when you start in the middle of the strip, it makes it so much easier to get to either end of the strip.
Yeah.
It's not like when we stay at Hooters and then it's just like, oh, we got to go to the Venetian and then we got to schlep all the way down the strip.
And then remember that you got to schlep back at some point.
Yeah.
Or take an Uber.
Now, listen, I don't want to take up all this time. I heard you went to a place that was even more fun than Las Vegas.
Oh, now, if you could think of a place that it was exactly the opposite of Las Vegas, I want you to make it half as fun, and that's Springfield, Missouri. That's where I went for the weekend.
How many times did you go to the movies?
I went to the movies twice in 4 days, and it would have been 3 times in 4 days, except for I fell asleep on the floor and woke up, and it was after the last movie started, which was at 10 p.m. So, yeah, there wasn't a lot. And that was the night I was going to go to Alamo Draft House, which they have in
they have an
Springfield.
Alamo?
Yes.
Did you get to go at all?
I didn't. No.
Oh, you missed. That should have been your first stop.
It should have. But the movies I wanted to see, I kind of structured out over the course of the day. And then the Saturday night movie, I fell asleep. No, wait. Friday night, I fell asleep on the floor.
I can't believe it. I walked by the Alamo in L.A. today, and I thought I saw people working on it. And I was just like, do you have any updates? Do you have any news?
The other problem is this. With a 2-hour delay, when I would go to a 2-hour long movie that started at 8 or 9, at some point during that movie, I would get a call from somebody who was on Pacific time.
Yeah.
There's several people who might call me, but they would all call me on Pacific time and not realize that when I text you and say I'm in the movie, or when I don't respond, that it's not that I'm dead, that I am just busy. Right. And Alamo has a very strict no phones policy, and I can't be checking my phone to text people back.
I do like when people naturally assume that you've died.
Yes.
When you don't respond within a certain
You must
amount
be
of time.
dead.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West over there in Missouri.
There's some people that I know that if I text, I may never hear back from them. Like it's just in the void.
Yeah.
Like my dad, for instance. Like he's not great with the texting. So if I text him, there's a chance that I might get a response like 3 months later.
Yeah.
So I don't ever worry if I don't hear from him in a timely enough manner.
Yes. Yeah.
But if I text you and I don't hear from you for like 3 hours, I'm like, oh, he might have died.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I could be in a movie and, trying to pay attention. Nonetheless, Springfield is a beautiful city, and I encourage everyone to go. If you really want a change of pace, like driving 70 miles an hour in the middle of a city, that's nice.
Yeah.
Reaching 70 miles an hour. I realized that while I was waiting in line to do something on Thursday, I think it was in Starbucks, that I had driven 70 miles an hour basically through town, on a highway, but through town in Springfield. And that was the first time I had driven at highway speed, except for you dropping me off at the airport. Since, I don't know, the last time I was in Maryland.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't travel at highway speed here. So, unless you're traveling really late at night or, and sometimes not even then. I mean, maybe when I dropped Roberto off, but I think I hit a backup coming across the hills then.
You know what's weird though is like, I find like even at 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning when I was like dropping you off at the airport.
Yeah.
That your version of highway speed that you hit in LA, even at that time, is roughly translated to the same speed you might hit at like 7 o'clock on 695, like going around where 95 is. You know, like where that interchanges. Like if you're going through Essex, like usually, like think of that at 7 o'clock. That equals LA, even at the slowest time ever.
Yeah. Anyway, so I enjoyed being able to drive freely, and like it's also Springfield is weird because it grew a lot like LA grew by like swallowing up the nearby towns and then combining them. So like Incorporated Springfield, instead of moving out little by little, would say, "Hey, Battlefield, why?" There's a town called Battlefield. Why don't you join Incorporated Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll take over your police and your trash and your fire and everything. And then basically that leaves a gap in between them that is not Incorporated Town. But you get these weird things like along those stretches where somebody's like has an open fire pit. Like it's like store, stretch of houses, open fire pit in one of them. Because technically it's in the county, not in the city.
Yeah.
It's very weird. But it's also not very tall. There's not a lot of tall buildings, and it's very spread out. So the city itself is really big. It's hard to get across. It's like 45 minutes to drive across the town, across the city, even at 50 miles an hour. But it's like a different way of life. I posted a picture on Instagram of the sign that was at the movie theater the first night I was there, where there might have been one person working at this movie theater. There was nobody in the box office. I bought my ticket at the machine. I went in. There was one girl behind the counter doing refreshments. And I went to go to give my ticket to the ticket taker. And there was a sign that says, please seat yourself. Theaters 1 through 10. I'm like, oh, okay. So I could have just walked in.
Work
off the
on
street.
the honor system here, do you?
Really? I could have just walked in off the street, not bought a ticket, gone and got a drink even from the girl, and then just walked into a movie.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of life there. And it's good. It was good to see my family. I didn't want to talk about the trip last week because I don't know if my parents listen. God, I hope that they don't. But it was a surprise. So my dad's birthday was Saturday, and I basically showed up on the doorstep of the house where they were staying and knocked on the door.
Nice.
And it took them so long to answer because they weren't
Expecting
they weren't
anybody?
expecting anybody. So my aunt, whose house they were at, had given me the code. So I went back around and like keyed into the garage, and then my mom like was freaked out because she thought somebody was coming in. And then like I opened the door, I was like, "Hello," and she like poked her hand on the corner and was like, "What are you doing here?" Man, it was she cried, and yeah, it was nice. It was nice. So otherwise, it was a good weekend and got to hang out with the family and see extended family that I haven't seen since 2002. Which
Wow.
is weird. Yeah.
So this is family that you haven't seen since you've known me, essentially.
In fact, the last time we were out there was August of 2002.
So it was probably exactly right before.
I think I came back from our
Wow.
last trip there, and then the next weekend I went to Hofstra.
That's how we got to do time from now on.
Yeah.
Like before Corey or after Corey.
BCAC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, there's not much in my life that still associates with, although something that was AC, the very first the first real engagement. Remind me, I have a story I have to tell you about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's podcast appropriate.
Podcast,
but,
yeah.
That young lady has re-entered my life, so
Oh.
super fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, so the weekend was good though, and we got back. I flew Allegiant out there. Have
How
you ever
was it?
flown on Allegiant?
No.
I took some advice that you gave on your trip to Maryland a few weeks ago, which is the $10 to $20 upgrade for the exit row is everything.
Yeah.
And it's 100% worth it.
Especially for you, because you're taller and you got longer legs. You got the long dancer legs.
Yes. Yeah. So if I had to, I went in and I accidentally on the trip out, it was 4:00 in the morning and I was exhausted. I sat in the row behind the row that I was supposed to sit in. And I think it's because the stewardess or the flight attendant was standing in my row. And for some reason, I was just like, I don't even want to fight with this lady. And just like sat down in the row behind. And then my knees immediately banged into the seat. And I was like, oh. And then I looked up and I'm like, oh, I think I'm in the wrong row. And so I got up and I was like, I think my seat's right here. And she was like, oh, sorry. I moved out of the way. And then I sat down and I instantly had 4 feet of space more.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I saw somebody get moved out of the exit row for the first time ever, because the woman was doing the like, so in the event of an emergency and I need you to audibly say that you agree. And there was this guy who was just like, huh? She was like, sir, are you hard of hearing? He was like, what? And she was like, we're going to have to reseat you, sir. So she reset him. And I'm like, I just think of
That's I told Rachel when we got those seats, I was just like, this is not the time to fuck around. Pay attention. Say yes.
Yes.
Like, you can handle this. Like, don't do this. Like, oh, I don't know if it's possible for me to, like, don't
Just
do that
say
thing.
yes.
Just say yes.
Or else you're moving and I'm staying here.
Right. I'm just like, I'm paying extra money for the seat. Let's just get the most out of it.
That's the thing is, I don't know that the old guy realized that he was moving from like a $20 extra seat to a cheaper seat.
Yeah.
Which would suck, but nonetheless.
But I mean, like, realistically, like when I first started flying, the exit row was not something that like the seats in general weren't as bad as they are now, but the extra room you got in the emergency exit row didn't seem huge compared to.
But then everything started shrinking.
Yeah, and then he had to keep the exit row the same.
Yeah.
So it's like a throwback to old seats. And I remember like for a while there, like it was like a travel secret. You would tell somebody like sit in the exit row. It's just this much bigger, but it makes all the difference.
You
in
get
the
an
world.
extra 2 inches.
Yeah.
Now you literally get this much extra space. It's that much.
I mean, I have a big belly, so this doesn't impact it too well. But I mean, like usually if I put the tray down, it'll just like hit the belly. Yeah. So I can't like use the tray. But like if I'm in the exit row, it actually goes all the way down, and I have like this much space between me and the belly to like type.
It's a lot of space. But so I got to sleep, which was great, except for there was a bodybuilder in the seat next to me. So he was taking up 20% of my seat, 20% of the seat on the other side, and the 100% of the middle seat that he was occupying. And can I just, a little travel advice, guys. Like I could have used an extra 45 minutes of sleep, but I got up to shower the morning of the flight.
Yeah.
Extra deodorant, little spritz of cologne, just to make sure that I smell right. And before I go down the jetway, gum in my mouth. I want to make sure that all engines everything's brewing up as much as possible. This dude, I swear to you, went to a gym and then just strapped on like new clothes over top of it, but kept the same like sweaty ass underwear. He smelled like sweaty ass for 3 hours on the way to Springfield, and I do not appreciate it. Okay.
I'll also say this, and this is not against you. It's just something I've learned about myself now at this age, this tender age of mine, is that if I wake up in the middle of the night, which is essentially what I did there, waking up at 4, bring you to the airport. I was back here by like 5:30 or whatever, and I went back to sleep, and that was a huge mistake. Because when I got up, it just literally felt like I was like asleep all day. Like I woke up, but then I was just sort of like, just glazed over all day, and like I would like sit down and I'd be like watching TV, and I would still feel like when you're like watching TV in a dream and like no words are making sense, and I'm just like, I can't get with it today. What the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah, I got woken up early on Sunday morning to hang out with the family, and unexpectedly early. Was not expecting to be woken up. And then I slept like maybe 90 minutes of the flight, and the rest of the afternoon was just ruined. I was just I couldn't get my shit together. I couldn't put it together. I literally just laid on the couch.
I can't go to sleep like as soon as if I go to sleep twice in 24 hours, then it's just I'm done. Yeah,
yep,
I think that's the new rule. And if I'm gonna nap in like the afternoon or something like that, then that's essentially going to become just the runway to when I sleep. Like I may wake up, I may eat something after the nap, I may do like watch TV or something. Yeah. But I'm not doing anything that wouldn't involve me like lounging about. Like that nap has killed everything. The rest of the evening.
Yep. Yeah. We're getting to that age, unfortunately. Yeah. So weekends were good, and you unfortunately. I realized that my trip to Missouri was shorter than your trip to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because you had a 4-hour drive
The other thing that was fun was longer than that.
Really?
The thing that was fun was we dropped my dad off at the airport. His plane got delayed like right as we got to the airport. But me and Rachel went to go eat breakfast and then got on the road.
Yeah.
So we probably left
by
Vegas.
Breakfast, you mean Giordano's deep dish pizza?
No, it was actual breakfast. It was eggs and bacon.
Was
and
Giordano's
sausage.
the night before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just remember the Snapchat of Giordano's.
Oh, she dropped it.
Yes.
Oh, damn it.
How drunk was she during that?
No.
Oh, is that just accidental?
That was just an accident.
Okay, all right.
But we essentially left at the same time. Like him on the flight to Baltimore and us on the drive to Los Angeles.
Yes.
And we both got home at approximately the same time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So his 5-hour flight and our 5-hour drive was like equal.
Well, did you hit traffic?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
And plenty of it.
Well, see,
I think that's the other thing. I'm making one more rule about Vegas on the weekend. I think I'm going to have to insist that we plan on spending a good amount of the day on Sunday in Vegas.
Right.
Like, just plan like Sunday is going to be a full day.
Yeah.
And park somewhere and just
have a day.
Do a day and make sure whoever is driving is like not drunk.
Or get drunk early so you can sober up.
Yeah, like only Fat Tuesdays in the morning.
Right. We'll go to the champagne brunch, and then after that you're cut off.
Yeah, then you gotta get with it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see the point in like sitting in that like intolerably long line on the highway just to get into California from Nevada. I'm just like,
did you have to stop at that agricultural station?
No, but everyone stops, even though there was nobody in the booth. Like everyone stops and like drives through slowly, like nobody's here, and then drives on. And it's just like,
why is it even there?
I don't
Something
know.
about boll weevils, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so good weekends. I honestly am just looking forward to a weekend where I can just sit and relax and not do anything.
Which might not be this weekend.
Might not be this weekend. I guess we'll see. We'll have to see how it shakes out. But I tell you, we had a good weekend. There is somebody, though, who did not have such a good weekend.
Who could this be? I'm wondering. Trump?
Yes. Yes. The president of the
Nailed
United
it.
States, unfortunately, did not have a
Nailed
great
it.
weekend. Started out on...
It was really a really horrible week as opposed to just a weekend.
Yeah, worst week ever, really.
Yeah.
You remember that show?
Yeah.
Remember that was the thing that we did?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it started out on Thursday,
Wasn't that
right?
best week ever, though?
They did both. Best and worst.
Oh,
During
okay.
Best Week Ever, the show Best Week Ever, they had a worst week ever segment.
Yeah.
So, God, that was like early 2000. I think that was while we were in college.
I think that was mid 2000, like 2005 or something
Was
like that. Yeah.
Maybe it was law school. I felt like it was college. Maybe it was law school.
I don't know.
But not important. The important thing is, starting out on, I think, Thursday, all the NATO countries met in Brussels.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the president held himself out as a shining beacon, a light upon a hill. America, the leader of the free world.
Where he basically said, pay for all your shit.
Yeah. Now, he said, we're tired of carrying you. You all need to pay your fair share. Germany, you've gotten off easy thus far. But I haven't forgotten all those things you did.
You know, it's... What I find the most amusing is just the casual...
Racism?
No, the
okay.
complete misremembrance of history.
Yeah.
Like, part of the reason why NATO was formed with us spending so much money on it was because we wanted to be the sheriff of the West, essentially.
Yep.
Like, everything on the western half of the globe, we were going to be in charge of. And we were going to make sure that everyone stayed in line. If there was an issue anywhere in the world, we could act like the world's police.
Yep.
And help clean it up. And that's why originally America, which was also the most prosperous of all these nations,
The only one left, yeah.
foot the bill for so much of it. To come in and demand that everyone else do their fair share, while a great, not an unreasonable request, is also going to be met with the lessening of American influence,
Right.
over the thing, like.
You can't have one without the other.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, especially if it's like, I'm the guy who buys dinner all the time.
Yep.
And then if I stop buying dinner, then you guys are going to stop coming over.
Well, no, I think it's more like you're the guy who always buys dinner. So you get to choose where we go to dinner.
Oh, yeah.
But as soon as you start making everybody pony up money, now you're going to have to listen to everybody
Right.
when they say, no, we don't want to go there anymore.
We don't want sushi.
Yeah, we're going to go somewhere else. If we're going to be splitting the bill, then let's do this.
Yeah.
And Trump wants to have it both ways. He wants to be able to say, you are not doing the right. I mean, he called out, to move forward a little bit, the next day on Friday, he was in England. And he called out Theresa May and said, you didn't handle this the way that I would have handled it. Well, guess what? You don't get to tell people what to do unless you're footing the bill for what they are doing. And you can't tell Germany or France or Italy or the UK how to deal with Iran, how to deal with Syria, how to deal with immigration in their own countries, unless you're going to be the one who's footing the bill for them to do that.
Yeah.
And NATO doesn't do that anymore. NATO is... I don't really know what they do anymore. In the 90s, the entire Yugoslavian situation wasn't an American war. It was us fighting with NATO in Yugoslavia, in the former Yugoslavia. But since then, I don't know.
I mean, NATO to me has always been the type of thing that like it's not really important until it's critically important.
Yeah.
It's not really important until somebody decides to rise up. Like, you know, if North Korea nuked South Korea, then I imagine NATO would get involved.
No,
and we'd
they
be
wouldn't.
really happy that NATO would be.
They wouldn't.
No?
What does NATO stand for? You're in the hot seat. What does NATO stand for?
I forget. Don't do this to me. It's late.
Okay, why would NATO not get involved in the Korean conflict? It's because of what the term NATO stands for. Oh, man.
I'm like,
you millennials. All right, NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
yeah.
Its mission is to sustain peace in Europe.
Right.
That is it.
Yeah.
And it was meant to counteract the Warsaw Pact, which was signed among Soviet countries, which essentially said, hey, East Germany, hey, Belarus.
I guess
hey,
I was
Poland.
thinking more of the UN would be.
UN is,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. UN would be Korea.
Yeah.
But so we created this NATO and said, we need to counteract the Warsaw Pact countries. They say, essentially, World War I was a bunch of people who had secret alliances, and if you fought one, then all of a sudden everybody jumped on your back.
Right.
And the reason that war got out of control is because everybody had secret alliances, and then one person jumped on one person's back, and then they all just went into a scrum together. We said, no more secret alliances. We're going to make ours very public now. So if you mess with one of our countries, you mess with all of us. And then the other side, the Warsaw Pact countries, said, if you mess with any of our countries, you mess with all of us. And thus, peace was solved in Europe. But after 1991, NATO started allowing in other countries from the former Warsaw Pact countries, like Poland, like Belarus, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. And it kind of lost its purpose, except to counteract Russia. Because despite the fact that it at times wanted to join NATO, really there would be no point for NATO if it wasn't counterbalancing Russian influence in Europe.
Right.
And clearly we may need NATO more than ever, even if the U.S. isn't going to be leading NATO. Because this weekend was followed up on Monday by a meeting in Helsinki. Helsinki is the capital of what country?
Finland.
Oh, hey.
Yes, I know.
Hey. Why is Finland infamous?
Why are you doing this to me? Why do you always...
I don't know. I like trivia. It is the only country who beat Russia. In the Winter War, 1942, the Finnish actually beat back Russia and expanded their territory in World War II to include more of Russia. So there you go. Look
The
up the
more
Winter War.
you know.
I wish I had the thing and I could just...
I could do something like that if you want.
Yeah, it's okay. So Helsinki, Finland, is a traditional meeting point between East and West. And I think during the Cold War, there are actually several times that the American president and the Soviet premier met in Helsinki. Reykjavik is another one. Reykjavik is the capital of...
Iceland.
Ooh, look at you.
Listen, just because I blanked on NATO doesn't mean I'm a fucking dumb idiot.
And then they met in Crete. Do you know where Crete is?
Bam! Right there. There's where Crete is. In your fucking face. For those of you who are listening to the audio, I just flipped off Rob. Now you can enjoy too.
So Helsinki has been an important city where East and West have met. And Vladimir Putin, the president, or no, he's not president anymore. He is something.
I think it's still president.
Is he president?
Yeah.
What was he before? He was something before, and then he hit the term limit, and he gave up that job, and he started doing another job. Very dictator-y.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so whatever role he has, Vladimir Putin, maybe it is.
Premier?
No, because premier is Soviet. I almost said premier, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
the Soviets. I don't know. President of the Senate? No. Anyway.
Yeah.
President Putin met with President Trump in Helsinki today. And today, like December 7th, 1941, may be a day which will live in infamy.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the first time since the rise of American power, arguably World War I, an American president basically kowtowed to a leader of another leader of the world.
Not even that. Just against a foreign adversary.
To a foreign adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part. So like I read this long lead about Obama.
By lead, you mean LEDE, the first paragraph in a news story?
Yes.
Ooh.
About Obama, like right before the end of the election, and how he was trying to decide how he was going to get the information out to the American people that Russia has been interfering with our election and trying to compromise everything. And so much of it was essentially, if I say anything, then everyone in the world, who's a Republican, is going to say this is some sort of malicious plot by Obama to take away our voting rights or blah, 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 blah. And he knew, he was so in his head about it that he couldn't go out there and just say to the American people, hey, we're under attack, essentially.
Yeah.
So he, essentially what he came up with was he was going to meet Putin at a G8 summit, which was before it became the G7 summit, because Russia got kicked out for invading
Crimea. Yep.
And Obama basically gave him a strongly worded, like, hey, knock this shit off or else we are going to come at you like you've never been come at before. So
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Knock
I'm come
it
at
off.
you like a spider monkey.
Knock it off. And Putin was like, I don't know what you're talking about, as ex-KGB is known to do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's all news to me.
Sorry, Obama. I have no idea. I got a little Dracula.
A little bit, yeah. I will fucking blood.
Man, it's late. All right.
Anywho, and that basically led us to Trump being elected president. And now Trump is up there blaming both sides, much like he did during the Charleston rallies, the Charlottesville rally.
The thing that the comparison
it
to
hit me so hard too.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, why did you have to say both sides? Like it just like
the mistakes were made on both sides. There are good people on both sides and bad people on both sides. Like you're making the same argument. You're defending white nationalists, which, by the way, we should stop using that term. I read a thing about that today. We should not say white nationalists because they're not nationalists because they support Russia. You can't call them nationalists when they're saying, hey, we should just let the Russians take it.
Well, not only that, I think I saw another tweet that you posted about the same subject where you said where whoever was the author of the tweet basically said like
OP.
Yeah, the original poster was we should stop calling them nationalists because they would rather see the country burned to the ground than have black people or brown people be involved in it. Like, if that's your definition of nationalism,
you'd rather lose the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? God, there's like a famous example from history, and I'm blanking on it now, where like they burn the city instead of letting the invader get it, they just raise the whole city. It's like, okay, great. There we go. Enjoy your spoils.
Yeah.
You have a burned city. But that's basically what these people want. They would rather burn the entire country down than allow people to be equal.
Yeah.
But that's getting off topic.
Yeah, that's something completely different. That's a problem for another day.
Yes. The problem for this day is that the president sided with a foreign adversary.
Like the only thing I could think of, like today, it's not even the we've seen video evidence of like the Fox News like going back and forth between like criticizing Obama for saying that he would meet with Kim Jong-un and then praising Trump endlessly for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, honestly, think about it like this. If, let's say 9/11 happened prior to Bush.
Okay.
So, like, it happened at tail end of Clinton.
Okay.
And then in 2001, after the election had happened, there's a news conference where it's George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden at two lecterns.
Yes.
And it's just like, listen, we had plenty of, we did a lot to have this attack happen to us.
I'm not going to say we deserved it, but...
Listen, America's been a real piece of shit country to most of the world. We can agree on this.
Right? Am I right?
It's not unreasonable to think that somebody would attack us for being a piece of shit. Questions?
Yeah, and let's be honest, I am only president because of this.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem. I mean, what are you going to do? But the president of the United States went against his own not national security director, the director of foreign intelligence.
Every single intelligence. I mean, like, it's not even like it's just the FBI saying this or something like that. It's the FBI, it's the CIA, it's the NSA, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Literally everybody in U.S. security is saying this, in U.S. intelligence. And, like, it's not even there's not even like people who are arguing that part of it. Like, it's not like Fox News goes on and it's just like Russia didn't try and do shit. It's all a big make believe.
Yeah,
they admit to the Russia did shit part of it. They just don't agree that it affected the vote or anything. You know.
Well, So this was an interesting thing that Corey and I found over the weekend. Given the people who I was spending time with, for instance, at my dad's celebratory birthday lunch, one of my uncles wore a hat that was not 10-gallon, but probably held 10 gallons, that just had "Make America Great Again, Trump." And now, to be fair, it was an election hat, so I don't know how he currently feels, but my guess is, since he apparently wears it
he still wears it
all the time, that he's still a supporter. And I didn't want to get into too much politics, so I didn't bring it up. Plus, there was a lot of God talk over the weekend, and thank God I'm back in the land of atheists out here in California. But nonetheless,
fuck bitches make money.
And capitalists, you swine. But I watched a lot of Fox News this weekend because that's what my parents watch. So that's what's on. And it was interesting that Corey sent me a text message saying, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "Oh, the indictments? Yeah, but I mean, they're only indicting them over the DNC hack." And I knew that because I was sitting at the breakfast table watching Fox News as it was going on. But oh no, that was incorrect.
Yeah.
Because had I been watching any other sort of news program, I would have heard
that it also involved breaking into the state board of elections and stealing the personal information of more than 500,000 voters.
Yes. And as a reminder, Trump won by about 37,000 voters.
Yeah, over 3 states.
Over 3 states.
Yeah.
So 37,000 voters over 3 states. 500,000 voter records were compromised over more than 3 states. Over, I think, like 18 states or something like that, including possibly Maryland.
Yeah, because apparently Maryland hired a Russian company that is in cahoots with Putin to run our elections. I didn't even know this. Like, I don't get how, like, if I wanted to work for, like, let's say I wanted to work for the governor's office, right?
Yeah.
And not even like a big, like, just in the mailroom of the governor's office.
Yeah.
I would get drug tested like 1,500 times.
I mean, I didn't.
They would get me with they would have me fill out forms and do everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And if one thing came up where it's just like, we found an internet posting where you said that maybe this country should burn to the ground rather than...
You do a podcast every week with a guy who says this country should burn to the ground every week.
I don't think there's a job here for you anymore. Like...
To be fair, though, I worked for the governor. Now,
Yeah.
I worked for the governor who was also having an affair with a news reporter and then sent her away when it became public.
Wait, which one was that?
O'Malley.
Yeah.
And Sade Bedouinois, one of my favorite reporters, only based on her name because I love her name. But I worked in essentially his mailroom. I worked for StateStat as an intern. No drug testing.
Mm.
And, a lot of anti-governmental stuff.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yes. And maybe things have changed since 2009 when I was working there.
But I mean, like, I just feel like you would spend so much time, like, doing background checks on the people who would work in the office, but not the voting company.
They're just handling the elections. They say they'll do a good job. I think they'll be fine.
Especially with, like, all the records that went away, too.
Yeah.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So, basically, to some, we may or may not become a Russian puppet state at this point. And it's arguable that we may already be, in some ways, a Russian puppet state. Because although the Republicans in Congress came out with strongly worded tweets, they're still in session, and nobody made a move to do anything today.
No.
No censure from the Congress to the president. No, bills to address it. Which, I mean, you could easily have just put in a do nothing bill that's just like the America for Americans Act of 2018, where we, the Congress of the United States, reemphasize our support for the American intelligence community. And
Yeah, that happens all the time.
yeah,
Or at least used to before Congress stopped doing things.
yes. I don't know if they still. Honestly, that might be the only thing they get done. Like, we, the Congress of the United States, would like to say a happy birthday to Cecil B. Watkins, the oldest living man in Springfield, Illinois. Thanks, Cecil. So done.
So ordered.
Can I have that A's and nays? A. All opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Yeah.
One yay vote, zero nay, and 300 abstentions.
Motion passes. But yeah, so we may or may not be a Russian puppet state at this point. The Congress is not doing anything. It doesn't look like the Republicans are going to let anything happen. They're more focused on getting a Trump. Despite this,
Yeah.
they still want Trump to be able to appoint a Supreme Court justice for life.
And
So we're still moving that direction.
again, if you're the Democrats, I feel like you should stand up every single day and say, hey, none of this seems right. All of this seems like we're going to look back on it and be like, wow, how did we miss all of this?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Just for instance, with the 12 Russians that were indicted last week, when Trump went up on a campaign event and said, I don't know anything about Russia. I don't have anything to do with Russia. But hey, Russia, if you're doing anything and you want to hack into Hillary Clinton's emails and find the 30,000 deleted emails, the very next day is when they broke into the DNC.
Yeah.
The very next day. By the way, another underreported piece of information, they also hacked into the RNC, but none of that information got out. I wonder why. Maybe they're holding it for a rainy day, or maybe somebody said, listen, there might be a little something in it for you if you don't release this information.
Or maybe there's a PP tape, and it's just going to make you a puppet, and you'll do whatever the president of Russia asks you to do.
I mean, like, I remember when W was in office, and I spent a lot of time essentially saying, like, listen, he's the guy in the job. He's the guy in the chair. You got to let him operate.
Yeah.
We're in unusual territory. If he says we got to invade Iraq, he knows better than we do. We got to let him do it. Mm-hmm. And in retrospect, I look back at moments like that and I say, well, no, we didn't need to let him do that.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think it was perfectly reasonable. It was a perfectly reasonable viewpoint to have.
Yes.
Seeing as both Republicans and Democrats were having it at that time.
I do believe I was against the war from the beginning.
You were, but I'm saying, like, Hillary Clinton voted for the war in Iraq. So, I mean, like, I'm not that far off from...
She's a Republican.
Oh, I know, but she ran as a Democrat.
Oh, my God. And I saw someone on Twitter today start using the hashtag, I'm still with her and Hillary 2020. Listen, Democrats, if you fucking run Hillary Clinton again in 2020... I'm done with you. I'm done with all of you.
There's a new podcast from the Pod Save America crew.
Yeah.
Which is just about the Democratic Party and like where they came from and where they are now and what they have to do to fix it and everything like that. And like Jon Favreau's going on about like, but what happened? What happened exactly in 2016? And I'm just like, Hillary was fucking awful.
You
she
ran
was
Hillary.
So awful.
People don't like her. Do not vote for. Listen, I will be with her. As long as her is anyone, well, not anyone, most people other than Hillary Clinton. Do not run a Republican and tell me she's a Democrat.
I don't even know how to explain. Like, people really just don't like her.
Yeah.
Like, and does she have a long and distinguished resume? Yes.
Yeah, on that resume, voting for the war in Iraq. Saying that black young black men are savages and that they need to be jailed, saying that she would never support marriage equality, and then backtracking on all of those things.
Well, and all the things that she was doing while her husband was in president too, like repealing Glass-Steagall or the 1994 crime bill or
the Welfare Reform Act that she championed. Yes, these are all things that are in her record and reasons she should not be president of the United States. By the way,
sometimes I watch things happen in real time, and yes, sometimes I get them wrong, like war in Iraq. But I mean, like, I feel like I'm coming from a reasonable position when I do these sort of things. But I'm saying, like, every once in a while, I look at things as they're happening, like Trump and Russia, and I'm just like, how is nobody else seeing that? Like, it just seems plainly obvious to me.
By the way, things that aren't plainly obvious, but fuck you, Elon Musk. I was your biggest goddamn supporter.
Yeah.
And
what a fall from grace.
what a fucking asshole. Like, how are you? I get it. Rich white guys all stick together. And he's from South Africa. Maybe we should have seen that coming. I don't know. I don't know.
What about Papa John's?
Oh, my God.
Talking about white people going off the chain.
White people, let's get our shit together already. Like, I'm not going to excuse Elon Musk. I understand it. He's from South Africa. Of course he supports the GOP because they're super racist. But Papa John, you had the best pizza of all of the crappy pizza chains. I mean,
of all the terrible pizza, you were the best.
You were the best. And entertaining commercials.
I don't agree with that, but I mean, like,
you don't think Papa John's was the best of like Domino's,
no,
Pizza Hut?
No, I really
Little
don't like
Caesars?
Papa John's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, like the crust is good.
I don't like the crust. That's my problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's weird. You're weird.
I
But
would have put Domino's before they forsake me. Pizza Hut and Little Caesars over top of.
Are you talking about forsaking you as in the incident that happened?
Yeah.
And you ordered it?
Yeah. I called corporate. I left a complaint.
We don't even have time to get into that. Maybe next week we'll discuss
Maybe a
how
slow
Corey,
news week. We
how
can.
Corey wrote off Domino's and Boo's Philly cheesesteaks and Uber Eats and everybody.
No, much like I had suspended Domino's before. The problem is that they created a second incident, which meant that the suspended sentence from before needed to turn into a lifelong ban.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Nonetheless, Elon Musk supports GOP candidates. Who would have thought? Rich white guy votes for the GOP.
Also said the guy who didn't want to use the submarine was a pedophile or something like that.
Wait, what?
Did you hear about this?
No.
So the Thai soccer team that was stuck in the cave.
He sent them the submarine.
He sent him a submarine, and apparently the guy in charge of trying to get the soccer team out of the cave was just like, this isn't going to work for this situation. And Elon Musk responded to that by calling him a pedophile.
You're on my shit list now. I mean, listen, you're going to take us to Mars, and that's great.
Things seem so promising for Elon Musk for a while, and then all of a sudden it's just like in the last year or two, it's like he's your uncle who just can't shake this Trump thing, you know? And that's the other part. Please, I beg of anybody who might be listening to the sound of my voice and is still supporting Donald Trump to explain to me, because I just don't get it. What part of him, what has to happen?
Yeah.
Before you're just like, oh man, this shit's too much to take. Like,
what's the point?
At what point do you just go like, okay, I've had enough? Like, if the P tape just all of a sudden shows up, are you gonna be like, oh wow, I guess he might have been like, is that the bridge or like what? Because I know no matter what it is, Fox News is gonna come on. Hannity's gonna be on Fox News tomorrow, going like, so what if he has hookers pee on him in a Russian hotel?
Who hasn't?
And just because you haven't doesn't mean that you wouldn't do it. It's just because you can't do it. And Donald Trump is great because he made so much money and he's able to do things like this.
We all have weird things. Do you like to look at your wife in her eyes while you have sex with her? Who does that, you psycho?
Do you watch stepdaughter porn? Well, guess who's also terrible?
I feel like you got a little personal there. I feel like you're revealing some personal information.
It's just, I was channeling Hannity. I just
okay.
imagine.
All right. Yes. Yeah. I don't even know where I was gonna go from there. Donald Trump. Worst we get. Oh, but he did do one thing for which I respect him greatly this weekend. He basically started out on a bottom step with the Queen of England and then said, "Fuck you, bitch," and then just hightailed it across the lawn, leaving her in her wake. Because no gods, no kings, no slaves. That's right. You don't need the royal family. Fuck that old broad. Get her out of here.
We don't need the royal family, but at the same time, I just find it so why would you just follow protocol? It's not that fucking tough.
I will say, I would feel a lot better if he had done that.
To be honest, that's the type of thing that if Obama had done it, if everything else about this foreign trip was no incident, normal operating procedure, but he fucked with the procedure with the Queen, Like, that would be all we're talking about for like a month. It's
Yeah.
just like, he doesn't know that the queen and him are supposed to walk side by side, and he doesn't walk in front of the queen, and how dare he, and he angered Britain. And
I will say, all jokes aside, if he had done that
it's like the least unrespectful thing he did.
if he had done that to William in like 5 or 10 years, whenever that happens, then it's a lot funnier, because doing it to the queen, because fuck the queen, because she's the queen, but she's also a 92-year-old woman that you're just basically like, fuck you, and then I'm gonna walk across right in front of you. That part of it I don't like so much, because I just like see my grandma and I'm just like, you motherfucker. But then I'm like, oh, she's the queen. Yeah, fuck her. So I have very mixed emotions about it. But yeah, so I'm torn. What I'm not torn about, though, is the Cal Democrats' decision in the U.S. Senate race.
Yes.
Ooh,
Good
very
news.
happy. Good news.
So if you didn't know, California has a top 2 system, which means that the top 2 vote getters in primary votes go on to the general election and face off against each other. And what so many Democrats were worried about going into this was that it was going to eliminate. It was going to make it so that there were more Republicans in the race than should be in a liberal state like California.
We have a lot of leftists, both Democrats and other leftist parties, and that they might eat their own a little bit and allow a Republican to sneak into the runoff.
Or there might be like 8 establishment Democrats and 8 Bernie-crats who all run in the same race and only one Republican, and that one Republican gets all the Republican votes.
Yeah.
And everyone else just splits it, and then it's a Republican and just one Democrat at the end of it.
Yeah.
But good news for the Democrats. In the Senate vote, it ended up being 2 Democrats.
Yep.
Dianne Feinstein and State Senator Kevin De Leon.
Yes.
From Los Angeles. And in a very unusual piece of joy.
Change of pace.
Yeah, change of pace. The California Democrats decided to endorse Kevin De Leon for the Senate seat.
Good for them.
Which I don't know what that means. I assume that the only reason they do this is because there's more than a toss-up now.
Yeah.
That it might be De Leon.
Yeah, I don't think that they anger Feinstein unless they think she's vulnerable.
Right.
It's Brutus was first one
even
with
if she does win at the end of it, like I don't feel like what is she gonna do? Turn on the California Democratic Party?
Well, so the senator, the U.S. senator, is also a big money raiser for the state party.
Yeah.
So I feel like they don't make that decision unless they think he has a good chance of winning. But they also know that they have some weight and they want to throw that weight around a little bit, and maybe they want to get her out finally. Yeah. So but like I was saying, it's Brutus stabbed Caesar first, and it was like everyone stabbed him eventually, but the party can be that way. Like Feinstein had to look like she was vulnerable. Ooh, that was a lot of breaks. That was a lot. I don't know if they heard that at home, but there was a lot of breaking going on outside. Kevin gave her the first knife.
Yeah.
And now that she's down and she's vulnerable, now all of the Democrats are just going to stomp on her.
A2 De Leon.
Yes. But I hope that this bodes well. I hope this means that that there's a chance to unseat her. We obviously don't, the two of us do not want to change the makeup of the Senate, but maybe we can change some of the people who are there.
Yeah. Well, and especially for, I like Kevin De Leon because he was part of writing the net neutrality bill, which is now going through without amendments.
Yes.
Let me give me just a second here.
Go ahead. Yes.
Because I feel a little choked up. I feel like I was part of something here.
Okay.
You might have remembered a couple weeks ago we talked about Miguel Santiago, Assemblyman District 53, Los Angeles.
Whose district is that?
That is our district.
Oh, 53. Yeah. The Fighting 53.
The Fighting 53rds. He added a whole bunch of amendments to a net neutrality bill, which was going through his, oversight committee, essentially, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Wait, sorry. Somebody sent me a meme, and it's ironic because we literally just talked about it. Let me transition over to me so that I could take over most of the screen here. But this is the meme that was just sent to me. Oh, that's right. It's this camera. You probably can't make it.
Yeah.
It's Elon Musk, and it's Leonard Nimoy from The Simpsons, where Leonard Nimoy says, my work here is done," and then Barney steps in and says, "What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything." And then Elon's face again saying, "You're a pedophile." And he beams out. So, yes. Oh, it's ironic that it literally was sent to me during the podcast, and we just talked about that.
Maybe somebody's listening.
Oh, maybe they are.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's creepy. People from work.
Anywho.
Hey, guys.
Miguel Santiago, who tried to destroy the net neutrality bill, and then we all got on his case, and pretty much the entire internet rose up against him, had a press conference just last week. No, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Where he had agreed to take all the amendments off the bill and then act like a big fat conquering hero. Like,
yes,
I, Miguel Santiago, along with the original authors in the Senate, who don't really matter, have passed net neutrality out of committee in California. It's all my doing. Thank you, everybody. Don't ask any questions. Like, I'm so like flabbergasted by the whole thing. I'm still probably going to vote for his opponent.
Yes.
In the Assembly 53 race. But I would very much like to use this opportunity right now to say that Miguel Santiago, you should literally apologize. Like, I don't care. No vote is going to come your way unless I hear an apology at some point. And I know that you're not going to apologize because you're a coward, but if you did apologize, then it would show that you actually thought about this issue, like, and you realize that what you had done originally was wrong, and maybe it would help make people want to come back to your party a little bit. I probably will not. Like, there's a 99.9% chance I'm not voting for you.
You're a one-issue voter. You've said
one issue voter, and you've already messed up with my ability to trust you in the future. But if you can say, "Hey, I learned from this situation. I'm sorry I did it. I won't ever do anything like this again," then maybe there's a chance that people will trust you again. But I just don't get, like,
it's
like if Clinton, like, after the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, it's just like, "Did you learn anything from this?" And he's just like, "Nope."
I beat him. Yeah.
I got away with it.
But the lesson of all of this is, one, don't vote for Santiago. But maybe vote for De Leon. Look him up and consider your options that aren't establishment Democrats. Yeah. Although I think he is kind of an establishment Democrat, but he's more progressive. He's not. But he's still in the party. He is a party.
He's
guy.
not full Bernie.
Yes.
I would probably put him more. I think you would be basically getting another Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
If you voted for him.
I guess
but that's better than Dianne Feinstein, who like votes for Democratic issues when she needs to, but then also like says that she pretty much okayed all of Trump's cabinet.
Yes.
Like,
and she is a senior member, so she is.
He's the president. He's the president. He gets to choose these people. I just got to make sure that they can breathe and don't have at least a casual understanding of the job they're taking on.
Well,
but I'm pretty sure didn't Feinstein like vote yes on DeVos and
she voted yes
Session
on everything out of she's on whatever committee she's on. She voted out several from her committee and then voted yes on all of the appointments as well, because it was like, well, they're gonna win anyway, so let's just show support for the president.
Make her defend this one a little bit.
Yeah.
And good on you, California Democrats, for sticking up for us.
And we've talked about a lot of depressing stuff this week, but let's have some good news here at the end of the podcast.
I was watching some Joel McHale.
Yeah.
The sports segment brought to you by babies. No better way to spread your genetic code than babies.
But as the splash just dictated, it is sports ball. And what's the good news for this week? At least for the next few days, the Orioles cannot lose a baseball game.
Though, kudos to the Orioles for adding Brooks Robinson as like a special advisor to the team.
They need it.
He's not going to do anything baseball related. Probably just going to like greet fans and sign autographs and show up at like events and stuff like that. But In the new Brooks Robinson era of Orioles baseball, we're 2-0. Undefeated since Brooks' return. And I know you're going to say, like, listen, Manny's probably traded by now, but...
Well, yes, and as you pointed out, I hadn't
by
seen
this
him.
time tomorrow when the All-Star game is done, he's probably on his way to some team.
I was going to say, do you see Dan, like, sitting next to somebody and just waiting and, like, and that's the final out of the game. Good? Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
let's sign this.
Yep,
and-
okay. Now we're good. Let's get out of here. But yeah, so the rumor is that the Orioles have I wouldn't say a buyer.
An agreement in place?
Yeah, so there is an agreement in place. But as Manny represents the Orioles as their sole representation in the All-Star game, that he will remain on the team until after the All-Star game. The break goes until Friday, right?
Technically Thursday is the first, but there's only like 2 teams playing on Thursday, I think. And I literally just got this story pushed through on my phone.
Here we go.
Despite report of deal, Orioles have not yet traded Manny Machado, sources say.
Yeah. But again, the odds are that they won't until the game finishes on Tuesday at least. Right? Game's on Tuesday?
What I imagine is that they're going to let us have him in the uniform for the All-Star game.
Yeah,
and
with
then,
the Orioles patch.
And then once it's all over, they'll trade him.
Yeah.
Because it also, the very close to trading Machado, the source said, with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Philadelphia Phillies, and Milwaukee Brewers as the like 3 highest named teams there.
But we discussed that there is a rumor that the deal is done and they're just waiting for it. We don't know who it's with. Fingers crossed for the Dodgers, but
Well, it's saying Barstool Sports reported that the Orioles and Phillies have a handshake agreement for a deal that will be made Wednesday morning.
damn it.
But I think they're basically just waiting for the game to finish.
Yeah. And so we'll probably find out Wednesday what the details are. But so it's the end of an era in Baltimore. The Manny era, just as quickly as it started, is over.
Well, not as quickly as we had a good run. Have you been thinking any more of the other?
No rings. No rings.
Yeah, but a lot of teams don't win rings.
That was our best shot.
It was their best shot, but you have to have the whole team around. Like, you have to be ready to make.
You ready for another 30 years?
What?
Are you ready for another 38 years without? We'll see. 83, 93, 03, 13, 35 years. Are you ready for another 35 years? Because Adam Jones is done this year.
Yeah.
Manny's done this year.
Jones will probably be traded. Does that one hurt more than Manny?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But only because he's been with the team so long and he's going to get traded, that's going to hurt. Manny hurts because he's the future of the team and he's going to get traded, and that hurts. But, I mean, like, we have Chris Davis. That's who we got at the end. I mean, there's a bunch of guys on
Scope.
1-year deals. Scope may be part of the deal with Machado. You never know.
Nah, I don't think so.
But we have Scope, I guess. For
Boom
now.
Boom Mancini.
I guess. None of it's good. I'm looking at another 35 years of doldrums. That's what we're at.
Why 35 years though? Where's that number coming from?
Because it took us 35 years to go from 83 where
To
we
now?
won to like competing. I guess we got close in 96, but
Yeah, I mean,
really.
we were in the American League Championship Series in '96.
But that was like, it was like 93 bad, 94 bad, 95 bad, 96, 97 good,
Yeah.
and then bad again for a very long
See, but
time.
I mean, like, this is the thing. Like, the problem is that the Orioles didn't have the whole team, like, didn't have the whole plan together at the same time, and they were trying to like get through this piecemeal. Like, just like, hey, let's sign Nelson Cruz on a 1-year deal and then not re-sign him as like part of a way to get to. Like, we'll always be able to find somebody who will make up that Nelson Cruz difference or something like that. Like, that's not how it works. Like, the Astros, the Cubs, like, the reason why they won and why they're still successful is because they had the whole team, like, lined up to come at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be, they have a window where all these players are under team control.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about paying them right away. And the Orioles just wasted their window.
Yep.
So we gotta get rid of it all. We gotta get new prospects in. We gotta go through it again, and we'll be okay. We'll be okay. I'm not. My hope is that it doesn't take 14 years.
Okay.
14 years of losing seasons. I would like to think that it would be more like 3 years or 4 years, because hopefully whoever you get for Manny would be available to pitch like Soon.
Ish.
Yeah. I hope it's a pitcher. God, if you don't get me a fucking pitcher in this deal,
But
I'm going to be real mad. I'm going to be real mad.
The reality is Manny Machado has probably played his last game as an Oriole.
Yeah.
So, au revoir, monsieur.
Au revoir, Manuel.
Okay. So that's it for sports.
You know what else it is the end of for the week?
What's that?
This podcast.
Oh.
Don't feel too bad.
Why?
You can find more indispensable content at otheanthem.com. Corey at otheanthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, or at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We haven't been able to go see a movie here recently.
No,
I mean,
we
you
haven't.
did, but
I saw several.
So no new reviews to speak of, but I'm definitely going to go see a movie this week. Whether or not y'all join me or not is up to you.
Fair enough.
And you can find that review as soon as I'm done with it.
And, of course, you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek, as it says right here below. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to political blogs, news websites, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up for you in the next few weeks, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. And, of course, this podcast, if you're watching us live or if you're listening to us, is available all the time at youtube.com/O The Anthem. You can find the live videos, recordings at facebook.com/O The Anthem. You can find tons of other content all over the place at O The Anthem on all your social networks. Make sure you check it all out. Yeah.
I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. It's season for treason. Enjoy it.
Season for treason. Yeah.